Welcome to another episode of ABCD. During the course of this episode, we will be talking about central neuraxial blocks. Central neuraxial blocks are the bread and butter of anesthesia practice. However, for a beginner or a new trainee, fresh out of medical school, where they hardly have any practical exposure to anesthesia, these can be quite daunting. There are plenty of learning material which provide practical and theoretical aspects of performing these blocks. However, over the next few slides and minutes, we will try to offer certain practical tips which would help the new trainee or a beginner better appreciate the structures through which the needles pass through while the performance of the block is being done, thereby giving them more confidence in appreciating these structures and also help in performing the blocks more confidently. Here you find a character who's blindfolded, trying to feel and appreciate various different structures, thereby trying to identify what they might be. So, in medical parlance, this is called as stereognosis. Performance of central neuraxial blockade is essentially a blind procedure wherein you can't see where the tip of the needle is or what are the structures through which it is passing through. As a result of which, we rely on the feel of the structures, feel we get when the needle is passing through various structures, which is essentially stereognosis. The dictionary definition of stereognosis is ability to perceive or recognize an object in absence of visual or auditory information, relying only on tactile information. Here we have two needles, one a spinal needle and another an epidural needle. These are the structures we use to perform the procedure. The first practical tip would be to grip these structures at the hub rather than the shaft of the needle. Now, when we are advancing these needles by holding them, we rely on the tactical input or the sensory input from the tip. As noted earlier, in stereognosis, the area of contact between the fingers and the structure we are trying to feel is the key. More the area of contact, better is the sensory input and better understanding. So, if you hold the shaft of the needle, the area of contact is significantly less. However, if you hold the hub of the needle, the area of contact is more. Thereby, you will get a better feel of the structures through which the tip of the needle is passing. So, hence, the first key practical tip to remember is always grip these needles with the hub rather than the shaft of the needle. Before we proceed with the appreciation of individual structures, here is a quick recap of the structures through which the needles pass through. So, starting from skin, subcutaneous tissue, the supra and the interspinous ligament, and the ligamentum flavum. So, the epidural needle passes through these structures to reach the epidural space. In case of a spinal needle, the needle passes further through the Dura arachnoid complex into the CSF. So, one of the first structures we tend to appreciate after having gone through the skin and subcutaneous tissue is the supraspinous and the interspinous ligament. These are collagen rich structures. So, in order to get a feel, I would suggest is get a piece of sandpaper as indicated here. Grab the needle by the hub and close your eyes. Run the tip against the sandpaper. You get sort of a grating kind of sensation, which is what you feel when the needle is passing through the supra and interspinous ligaments. So the next important structure after the supraspinous ligament is the feel what we get when the needle passes through the ligamentum flavum. Ligamentum flavum, as we all know, is rich in elastic fibers. That's what it gives the yellow color, hence the name ligamentum flavum. In order to appreciate the feel of the needle going through this ligament, you can choose either a soft eraser as shown in the diagram, if not a piece of candle, wax candle, or a piece of a rubber tube, a common one being the tube connecting a gas cylinder to the gas stove. So again, grab the needle by its hub, close your eyes, and try to pass the needle through the rubber or the candle. So the waxy resistance you get, or which you appreciate when the needle is going through these structures, is the feel you tend to get when the needle tip is passing through the ligamentum flavum. So the next structure we need to appreciate is the Dura arachnoid complex. In order to get the feel of going through this structure, I would suggest taking a piece of paper. Any thick sheet of paper would do. You need help of another person. Ask the person to stretch the piece of paper and hold it under slight tension. Now again, grab the needle by the hub and advance it through this sheet of paper. So the loss of resistance which you get when the needle passes through this sheet of paper which is under tension is the feeling you get when the needle passes through the dura arachnoid complex. Ideally, a balloon, a child's balloon under stretch would be a better uh, indicator. But if you use a balloon, you can use it only once, because once the needle goes through a balloon under tension, it becomes pretty much useless. Hence, any thick piece of paper can be used as a surrogate. A quick recap of all the practical points. First one, always hold the needle by the hub. Second, the grating sensation you get when you pass the tip of the needle over a sandpaper would simulate the feeling you get when the needle is going through the collagen rich supra and interspinous ligaments. The waxy resistance you encounter while the needle is passing through a soft eraser or a candle would simulate the feeling you get when it passes through the ligamentum flavum. And the dural plop can be simulated by passing the needle through a stretched uh, thick sheet of paper held under tension. In order to get the better feel of the simulations, try to practice them with your eyes closed. Practice n number of times till you feel confident. Even though the epidural needle is of a bigger size and provides a better feedback, um, always start with a spinal needle, preferably 23 or a 25 gauge. Once you feel confident in identifying the structures, move on to finer needles. Hoping this piece of advice with regards to feeling the structures is helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them behind in the comments. Thank you.